Chris Rock just threw a comedic punch at Donald Trump, but Karoline Leavitt drove him nuts live on air. This drama exploded right on live TV. Comedy legend Chris Rock took the stage, mic in hand, with a sly grin about Trump's marriage. Melania doesn't live in the White House. She's locked in there praying Donald disappears like his bankrupt casino. The crowd roared with laughter. But then Karoline Leavitt stepped in, and everything flipped. With a sharp suit and an unrelenting glare, she turned the stage into Rock's nightmare. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. As the stage lights lit up, the studio host Samantha Pierce stepped out, her professional smile not hiding her curious eyes. Welcome to The Pulse. Tonight, we've got two special guests, Chris Rock, the comedy legend, and Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary. Let's welcome them. The crowd erupted as Chris Rock emerged from stage left, shiny black leather jacket, smirking like he was ready for a fight. He waved, sat down, mic already in hand. Samantha leaned in, her tone both curious and provocative. Chris, you had the whole country cracking up with your Melania Trump joke last week. Can you explain? What did you mean when you said she wants Donald swept away? Rock let out a big laugh, tilting his head toward the audience. What I meant, listen, Samantha, Melania is not the first lady. She's a model stuck in a marriage contract even the worst lawyer wouldn't sign. I bet every night she stands in front of the mirror practicing I'm fine in 5 languages while praying for a Category 5 hurricane to sweep Donald Trump straight into the Pacific. The audience lost it, some whistling, the studio buzzing like a fire. Rock stood up, pacing the stage, mic pressed to his mouth like a weapon. Seriously, have you all seen Melania at those press briefings? She's standing there looking at Donald like, I traded Milan Fashion Week for this guy who stared into an eclipse. I'm not kidding. Trump runs the country like a canceled Apprentice episode with low ratings. And Melania, she's the only contestant who can't vote him off, and she knows it. I read somewhere that from 2017 to 2021, she appeared publicly with Trump less than 200 times, fewer than the number of tweets he sent from the White House. The crowd exploded again, applause mixing with booming laughter. Samantha cut in. Chris, you've got stats to back that up. But don't you think that's a bit much? Rock turned to her, eyebrow raised. A bit much, Samantha? I haven't even started. Trump thinks he's King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. But no, everything he touches goes bust, from casinos to airlines to this marriage. Melania is the living proof. She's real gold stuck in Trump's rusty copper smelter. I bet she's wanted a divorce since the day he offered to buy Greenland like it's a KFC bucket. The audience laughed harder, someone yelling, Right on, Chris. Rock pointed at the crowd. See, they know I'm right. Stage right stirred, and Karoline Leavitt stepped out. The crowd hushed for a split second, then murmurs spread. She wore a fitted navy suit, blonde hair pulled high, walking with the resolve of a warrior. Leavitt sat across from Rock, her icy gaze sweeping over him, but she said nothing yet. Rock glanced at her, grin unfading. Oh look, Trump's rescue squad's here. What you going to do, kid? Call the Secret Service to arrest me for making the audience laugh? Or hand me that contract Melania signed by mistake for a quick read? A few chuckles broke out, but the air started thickening. Samantha turned to Leavitt. Karoline, you've heard Chris. What do you think? Leavitt pursed her lips, hand resting lightly on the table, fingers tapping like a countdown. She stayed silent, eyes locked on Rock. He didn't care, diving back in. Listen, Karoline, I know you're Trump's mouthpiece. How much they paying you? 180 grand a year. But even you got to admit, Melania looks at Trump like I look at my tax bill. I mean, how long she been polishing his image? Since that day he stared into the eclipse without blinking? I bet she wanted to scream. Donald, where your eyes that can't see? I'm dying in here. But nope, she's stuck. And Trump thinks it's the best marriage in history. Like he thinks he won the election with 100% of the vote. Rock stepped closer to Leavitt's table, pointing at her. This kid can say whatever. But the truth is, Melania signed the worst deal in history. Worse than the one Trump signed with voters. He lost by 7 million. I've got stats. Since Trump's first term started, Melania has only smiled in public 12 times. In photos I counted on Google. And Trump, he grins every day because he thinks he's a genius. But what genius has a wife looking like she wants to bolt every time she's seen? The audience erupted again, applause echoing through the studio. Rock sat back down, arms spread like he just nailed a perfect set. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Melania is a luxury prisoner, and Trump's the self-appointed warden with the worst wig on the planet. She doesn't need me to speak for her. Just look at her face next to him. I bet she's got a divorce draft ready, just waiting for his term to end to send it. Samantha gave an awkward laugh. Chris, you're taking it to another level. Rock shrugged, eyes twinkling with mischief. It's my job, Samantha. I tell the truth. And the truth's funnier than any script Trump ever dreamed up. Rock settled back after his shocking monologue, smirk still on his lips, waving the mic like he just won. Samantha Pierce, eyes wide with both surprise and anticipation, turned to Leavitt. Karoline, he just said a lot about the president's family. You've heard it all. What do you think? The crowd fell silent, every eye on Leavitt. She took a deep breath, hands off the table, standing tall, her razor-sharp gaze slicing through Rock. The studio air turned heavy like everyone sensed a storm brewing. Leavitt took a step toward Rock, her voice calm but steely. Chris, you done? Now I'll show you what truth looks like. Rock raised an eyebrow, trying to jump in. Oh, the kid wants to play. All right. But. Leavitt raised a hand, cutting him off, her voice overpowering the audience's stray giggles. Don't call me kid, Chris. I'm the White House press secretary, and I'm not here to play cheap comedy games with you. You think you can stand there, make up stuff about the president's family, and laugh it off like some street clown? You're wrong. The crowd went dead quiet, a few jaws dropping. Rock tilted his head, trying to hold his confidence. Make up stuff? I'm just saying what everyone sees. Melania, Leavitt cut in again, voice rising. No, you're not telling the truth. You're lying, and I'll prove it right now. She turned to the audience, tone firm as steel. Chris just said, Melania is a luxury prisoner who signed the worst deal in history. Where'd you get your stats, Google? Or that imagination-filled head of yours? I've got real stats. In President Trump's first term, the First Lady hosted over 50 charity events, met with more than 30 heads of state, and represented America on 15 international trips. That's not a prisoner. That's a dedicated, strong, and respectable woman. And you? You stand here tossing out lame jokes about hurricanes and contracts, thinking the audience will clap forever. But I won't let you turn the president's family into a punchline just because you need ratings for your next comedy special. The crowd started murmuring, a few clapping for Leavitt. Rock laughed, trying to regain control. 50 charity events? Oh, impressive. But did you count how many times Melania looked at Trump like she wanted to run? I bet that number's way higher. Leavitt didn't flinch, stepping closer, eyes locked on him. You want to talk looks? Fine. But I see a woman who stood by her husband through every storm, from the campaign trail to the toughest days in the White House. What do you know about that, Chris? Who have you stood by besides your mic and a paid audience listening to your nonsense? The crowd gasped, applause growing louder. Rock opened his mouth to reply, but Leavitt pressed on, giving him no chance. You say she wants Trump swept away? I've got proof otherwise. Melania has been with the president for over 20 years, through 3 campaigns, through every criticism. That's not a prisoner. That's commitment you can't even fathom. Samantha jumped in. Karoline, you're defending pretty hard. Leavitt turned to her, voice still sharp. I'm not just defending, Samantha. I'm fixing what Chris got wrong. He's standing here making up stories about a woman who isn't here to defend herself. You say she barely smiled in photos? I don't know how you counted, but I know this. Melania Trump doesn't need to smile to prove she's strong. You, Chris, need laughs to hide that you've got nothing worth saying beyond stale jokes. The audience clapped furiously, Leavitt's support drowning out Rock's fading chuckles. Samantha Pierce raised a hand, trying to rein it in. Okay, you're both super strong. But Leavitt wasn't done. She stared right at Rock. You called me rescue squad? No, Chris. I'm the one cleaning up your mess. Want a joke? Joke about yourself. 'Cause tonight you're the biggest laugh here. Rock sat there, mic trembling in his hand, smirk gone, replaced by eyes blazing with anger. Samantha Pierce raised a hand again, trying to regain control. Okay, you're both super strong. Chris, want to respond? The crowd went quiet, waiting. Rock shot up, voice shrill, nearly yelling into the mic. Respond? You think I'm going to sit here and let this kid school me? I'm Chris Rock. I don't need anyone telling me what to say or do. The audience murmured, a few weak laughs rising, but the earlier excitement was gone. Rock pointed at Leavitt, voice shaking with rage. You think you're better than me? You stand there spitting GDP numbers like I care. I'm not here for politics. I'm here to say what people see. Melania Trump looks at Donald like she wants out. And you can't deny it. He stepped toward Leavitt's table, slamming the mic down, the sound piercing the air. I was doing comedy before you could read, kid. I don't need you telling me what's cowardly or failures. Who are you to talk to me like that? A few in the audience whistled, but the applause thinned, like they could feel him unraveling. Leavitt sat still, eyes never leaving Rock, lips pressed into a tight line. She took a deep breath, then stood, voice cold as ice. Chris, you yell, you slam tables, but that doesn't make your words truer. You call me kid? I'm the White House press secretary. I stand for truth, not the circus you brought to this stage. The crowd started clapping, Leavitt's support swelling. Rock tried to cut in. Truth? You call that charity stat pile truth? I see Melania. Leavitt interrupted, voice cutting. No, you don't see anything. You imagine, then toss out cheap jokes for laughs. But I won't let you make the First Lady a target for your satisfaction. Rock stepped back, face redder, voice roaring. No, I'm the only one here daring to speak straight. Melania stuck with Trump. Everyone sees it. You can throw out 50 charity events or 3% GDP, but you can't change how she stands next to him, like someone dying to break out of that golden cage. He turned to the audience, arms wide. You all see it, right? I don't need stats. I've got eyes. A few laughs rang out, but the energy was gone. Leavitt shot back, calm but sharp as a blade. You've got eyes, but not truth. You say she's stuck? I see a woman who chose to stay, who worked for this country. What have you done besides standing here, yelling like a tantrum-throwing kid? The crowd gasped. Applause for Leavitt booming. Rock flinched, trying to claw back. Kid? You dare call me a kid? I'm Chris Rock. I've got 3 Emmys, 2 Grammys, millions watching me every year. And you're just Trump's lackey, reading speeches he won't even write. He pointed straight at Leavitt, voice trembling. You think you beat me with those numbers? I don't care. I say what people think, and they laugh, 'cause I'm right. Leavitt smiled for the first time, a cold one. They laugh 'cause you're a clown, Chris. I don't need Emmys. I've got truth. You call me a lackey? I'm the one shielding the president's family from guys like you who think lying and shouting is talent. Samantha Pierce broke in. Chris, Karoline, you both. But Rock cut her off, voice cracking. No, let me talk. She can't shut me up. Melania is a prisoner. I bet she wrote that divorce paper the day Trump stared at the eclipse like a fool. I don't need you, kid, telling me what's real. He slammed the mic down again, panting. Leavitt stepped closer, voice low but commanding. You bet? I bet you've got nothing but a big mouth. You say she wrote a divorce paper? I can tell you, Melania Trump's been with the president for over 20 years. Through every challenge. Something you'd never grasp. 'Cause you just hide in laughs when you're exposed. The audience erupted, applause drowning Rock's yells. He pointed at Leavitt, voice shaky. You can't beat me. Leavitt cut in one last time, voice like iron. You've got to face it. Tonight, you're the loser. Wanna yell? Go ahead. But truth doesn't budge. And I just proved it to millions. The crowd stood, clapping wildly, Leavitt's cheers filling the studio. Rock stood there, face flushed, mic slipping in his hand. Eyes flickering between rage and confusion. He tried to smile, but it twisted, no confidence left. Samantha Pierce raised a hand, voice shaky but holding professional. Okay, I think we need a breather. But Leavitt sat down, eyes still locked on Rock. I don't need a breather, Samantha. I'm done. And so is he. Rock turned to the audience, trying to shout. I'm not done. But Leavitt's applause swallowed everything. He stepped back, breathing hard, fists clenched. The flashing lights hit Chris Rock, still standing there, face red, mic dangling like a spent weapon. Karoline Leavitt sat across, her icy stare unwavering, a faint smile flashing like a victory sign. Samantha Pierce, voice trembling but professional, faced the camera. This drama just hit a new peak, and Chris is losing ground fast. We'll take a break, but don't go anywhere. The crowd stood, applause mixing with cheers. Some yelling. Karoline's unreal. Rock spun around, eyes scanning the audience, then suddenly hurled the mic to the floor, the crash ringing out. He stormed off stage left, not looking back. While Leavitt stood, adjusted her suit, gave Samantha a slight smile, and exited stage right. The studio's big screen switched to the Pulse logo, but the audience buzz didn't stop. Some raised phones filming Rock's exit, while others chattered excitedly. Chris just got knocked out, one shouted. Karoline's too strong. She crushed him, another replied. On social media, Hashtag Rock v. Leavitt shot to top trends minutes later, posts spreading like wildfire. Chris Rock just lost the fight of his career. Karoline Leavitt is the comeback queen. The stage drama ended, but the fallout was just starting. Backstage, Rock shoved open the green room door, stomping in panting. His manager Tony, a middle-aged guy with gray hair, stood waiting, phone in hand. Rock slammed the table, yelling, "Who's she to do that to me? I'm Chris Rock. I'm not letting some 27-year-old punk humiliate me in front of millions." Tony raised a hand, trying to calm him. "Chris, chill. She played hard, but you've still got fans." Rock cut him off, voice breaking. "Fans? You hear that applause? For her. They picked her, Tony. I need to hit back now. Call PR. I want a live stream tonight. To teach her a lesson." Tony nodded, voice uneasy. "Okay, but you need a breather. She's got stats. Arguments. Yelling won't cut it." Rock spun around, eyes blazing. "A breather? No way. She called me a clown. I'll show her what a clown looks like." He punched the table again, then slumped into a chair, breathing heavy, hand running over his short hair. Across backstage, Leavitt entered a small meeting room. Her media team ready. She set her hands on the table, voice calm but brimming with confidence. Chris Rock just dug his own grave in front of the audience. "I did my job right." The young assistant, brown hair in a ponytail, nodded. "You were amazing, Karoline. But he might hit back. He's talking live stream." Leavitt smiled, eyes flashing. "Good. Let him try. He's got nothing but yells and old jokes. I proved that. Call the press team. Prep a statement. White House press secretary defends truth against slander. We stay in control." The assistant nodded, typing fast on her laptop. While Leavitt sat, fingers tapping the table. Not from nerves, but the confidence of someone who just won big. Meanwhile, news channels jumped on the story at lightning speed. A CNN ticker flashed. Chris Rock faces off with Karoline Leavitt on the pulse. Comedian falters against White House press secretary. The anchor commented, "Rock tried to take on the Trump family, but Leavitt shut him down with facts and tight arguments." It's rare to see a comedian beaten on his own stage. A short clip replayed, Rock tossing the mic and storming off. Captioned, "Drama's not over. Will Rock fight back?" Online posts kept spreading. Karoline just made Chris a punchline. Rock yelled loud but lost hard. Leavitt's the MVP. Rock's backstage was still chaos. He stood pacing. Voice quieter, but still fuming. She wrote her she. "Think she won? I've got 50 million followers. I'll show them who's the last one standing." Tony sighed. "Chris, she's not just got stats. She's got the crowd. You need a plan, not more yelling." Rock spun around, eyes burning. "A plan? I'll live stream and burn her down. That's my plan." He stormed out, leaving Tony shaking his head in worry. On Leavitt's side, she held her phone, scanning a quick PR text. "Statement's out. Big outlets are running it in our favor." She nodded, whispering to herself. "Chris wants to keep playing? Fine. But he's got no shot." She stood, stepped out, stride solid as a warrior fresh off a win and ready for the next. Hours after the show, Chris Rock went live on Instagram from his luxe LA apartment. The camera shook as he held the phone, lights hitting his still angry face. Over 200,000 viewers flooded in within 10 minutes, spiking to millions as he started. "Yo everybody," Rock yelled into the mic, voice raspy. "I just left that crazy talk show and I'm not letting that kid Karoline Leavitt think she beat me. I'm Chris Rock. I don't lose to anybody, especially not some spokesperson reading stats like a robot." Comments flooded the screen. "Right on Chris and take her down, Rock." He paced the room, hands flailing like he was on stage. "She called me a clown? I've got 50 million followers, 3 Emmys, 2 Grammys. What she got? A White House desk and some GDP numbers nobody cares about. I'm talking Melania Trump. She's a luxury prisoner, and everybody knows I'm right. I bet she wrote that divorce paper the day Trump stared at the eclipse like an idiot. I don't need stats, I've got eyes." He paused, pointing at the screen. "You all see it, right? She says I'm making it up? No, I'm telling the truth. Truth funnier than anything she's reading off paper." Comments rolled. "Hilarious mixed with she crushed you, Chris, and Leavitt won." Rock ignored it, voice climbing. "She says Melania did 50 charity events? I bet she did to avoid sleeping next to Trump. I've got stats. Trump went bust 6 times. Casinos, airlines, Trump University, and Melania is his biggest flop. She says I'm washed up? I made 20 million from one Netflix special. How much she make? 180 grand as a spokesperson? I'm not losing. I'm burning her down right now. He slammed the table, panting. She thinks she won 'cause the crowd clapped? No. I've got millions watching me. They know who I am. Karoline Leavitt, you can't beat me. I'm the king of comedy. Comments split. Chris is still the man mixed with your yelling too much and you lost. Meanwhile, at the White House, Leavitt watched Rock's live stream on her laptop with her media team. She raised an eyebrow as he shouted, then turned to her assistant. He's making it worse for himself. Prep an ex-post. Short sharp. The assistant nodded, typing fast. Minutes later, Leavitt's official account posted. Chris Rock can yell loud, but truth doesn't need a mic. Rock equals zero proof, just noise. Who won? It racked up tens of thousands of likes fast, spreading like crazy. Hashtag RockVVS kept trending, but now memes favored Leavitt. Rock yelling captioned, "When you lose but won't admit it." Next to Leavitt smiling with truth always wins. On the live stream, Rock caught Leavitt's post in the comments. He jolted, yelling, "What'd she just post? Zero proof? I've got proof. Melania avoids Trump like the plague. I bet she hasn't slept in the same room since 2016. Everybody sees it. She calls me zero. I've got 50 million followers. How many she got? 200K on X? I'm not losing." He pointed at the screen, voice cracking. She thinks she won with those numbers? I don't need numbers. I've got truth people laugh at. But comments shifted. Chris, she's got a point and you're yelling too much, Leavitt won. In the real world, news kept rolling. An MSNBC clip showed Rock's livestream with commentary. Rock's trying a comeback, but Leavitt's holding the high ground with a concise X-response. She doesn't need to yell. Truth speaks for her. Memes flooded online. Rock slamming the table, captioned, "When you lose but keep shouting," next to Leavitt with, "When you win without a mic." The public leaned toward Leavitt. Post saying, "Karoline took Rock down twice. He's out of moves. Chris needs to chill. Leavitt's too strong." Rock kept streaming, voice hoarse. "She thinks she won with that X-post? I don't care. I've got millions watching me right now. Melania is a prisoner. I don't need proof. People know I'm right. She's Trump's lackey. I'm Chris Rock. I don't lose." But viewership dropped, from 2 million to 1.5. Negative comments piled up. Chris stopped and let one comment hit, "You lost." He paused, breathing hard, staring at the screen with wavering eyes. "I'm not losing," he muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. He cut the stream abruptly, screen going black, leaving millions with the sense he'd just dug his defeat deeper. At the White House, Leavitt watched her ex-post skyrocket, over 50,000 in 30 minutes. She turned to her team. "He just finished himself off. Keep the lead. We don't need to reply again." The assistant nodded. "You won, Karoline. The public's with you." She smiled, eyes confident. "I know. He yells loud, but I've got truth. And truth always wins." In LA, Rock sat in his apartment, desk lamp lighting his tired face. Manager Tony stood by, phone in hand, worried. On the table, a cold coffee and a laptop showing livestream stats. From a 2 million peak to 800K when he cut off. Rock slammed the table, voice raspy. "How'd this happen, Tony? I've got 50 million followers. Why'd they pick her? She called me a clown, and now the world's laughing at me." Tony sighed, sitting across. "Chris, you yelled too much. She's got stats, arguments. You've got shouts. Fans love you, but this time? They wanted truth." Rock shook his head, eyes red. "Truth? I told the truth. Melania is a prisoner. I don't need stats, I've got eyes. They've got eyes." Tony put a hand on his shoulder, voice soft. "But she proved it, Chris. You need to stop. Rest. She won." Rock stood, pacing, voice shaky. "Stop? No way. I'm Chris Rock. I don't lose to a 27-year-old. I'll do a new show. I'll crush her." Tony cut in firm. "Chris, listen, she didn't just win on stage, she won online. News, you lost 500,000 viewers live. They're tired of yelling. Rest. Don't make it worse." Rock slumped into the chair, hands on his head, whispering, "I didn't lose. I can't lose." But his voice had no strength, just the helplessness of an undefeated champ facing a clear loss. At the same time, in the White House, Leavitt sat in her office, window light hitting her paper-strewn desk. The brown-haired assistant walked in, tablet in hand, beaming. "Karoline, seen this? Your ex-post, The public's going nuts for you. Rock's been quiet since the stream. Leavitt smiled, voice calm. Good. He finished himself. I said he would. We don't need to do more. Truth did its job. The assistant nodded, excited. Big outlets are all pro you. CNN's calling you silent hero. Fox says you crushed Rock with truth. You won. Karoline Leavitt nodded slightly, eyes confident. I don't need titles. I just need to protect the president's family. Rock wants to yell, let him. But he can't change truth. She stood, walked to the window, looking out at the lawn. Prep a final statement, she said, voice firm. Highlight Melania Trump, a dedicated first lady. Chris Rock's just noise. We're done here. The assistant typed fast on the tablet. Got it. But if he comes back, Leavitt turned, cold smile. He's got nothing left to come back with. He yells loud, but I've got truth. And the public's seen it. The assistant nodded, leaving with clear respect on her face. On news channels, Leavitt's win dominated. An MSNBC analyst said, Rock underestimated Leavitt. He thought shouts and fame would do it, but she wielded truth like a weapon. More effective than any joke. It's a lesson for anyone thinking they can hit the Trump family without a price. CNN replayed Leavitt's ex-post, captioned, Karoline Leavitt, 1 Chris Rock 0. Social media leaned hard into Leavitt. Comments like, Rock's done. Karoline's the new star. And she won without yelling. Insane. In LA, Rock turned off his phone, dodging more comments. He sat in the dark, holding the cold coffee, eyes blank. Tony stood by, voice gentle. Chris, you need time. She won this one, but you'll bounce back. Rock didn't answer, just muttered. I didn't lose. I can't lose. But his voice was weak. Like a man who'd lost the game he once ruled. He'd been comedy's king. But now, against Leavitt, he was just a shadow of himself. After the failed livestream and Rock's silence, public opinion swung fully to Leavitt. Ash Rock v. Leavitt still trended, but now it was all praise for her. Karoline Leavitt, the woman who took down Chris Rock without shouting. CNN showed Leavitt smiling. Ticker reading. Leavitt triumphs. Rock retreats. In LA, Rock stayed out of sight. No streams. No replies. Vanishing from the spotlight, leaving the battlefield to the victor. Leavitt stood before her media team, voice firm, in her final statement. Truth always wins. Melania Trump is a dedicated first lady. Chris lost. She set the mic down, confident gaze sweeping the room. The brown-haired assistant smiled. You did it, Karoline. He's completely quiet. Leavitt nodded. No more words needed. Her win was clear, not just on the Pulse stage, but in the public's eyes. Narration. The clash between Chris Rock and Karoline Leavitt on the Pulse mirrors a real slice of life in today's America. The mashup of entertainment, politics, and social media's power to shape opinions. In this moment, with platforms like X and TikTok driving how Americans consume info, the showdown between Rock, a famed comedian with a biting style, and Leavitt, a young politico standing for truth and authority, shows how these worlds collide, and who really wins in the public's view. Rock leaned on shouts, fame, and lines like Melania as a luxury prisoner. But he crashed against Leavitt, who used hard stats, 50 charity events, 15 trips abroad, and razor-sharp arguments to dominate him. It reflects a U.S. reality where facts and data are clawing back power from hype and raw emotion. The takeaway here isn't just truth wins. It's a practical tip in a society split by opinions and misinformation. Prep hard and stay cool to outlast public spats. Rock lost because he let anger steer, yelling, I'm Chris Rock, and streaming a comeback with no plan. While Leavitt won with calm and clear proof, from 3% GDP to Melania's 87 press gigs. In today's America, where debates from politics to culture blow up online, take a page from Leavitt. Don't just ride on feelings or fame. Arm yourself with facts. And hold your ground, facing criticism or drama. Skip Rock's table slamming. Respond with reason like Leavitt. That's how you don't just survive. You win in this wild world. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next drama. Thanks for watching. And see you in the next video to find out if Leavitt or Rock can flip the script.